A gang. So I did promise an about me, but I figured most of y'all probably already know about me. Because I tend to do like, I tell like in everything when I tell my mini stories or whatever, I tend to talk about myself already. So I thought like to do like a little questionnaire, kind of like a what would I do situation, or I mean, it is still kind of like an about me, but I've written some questions down here that I'll be answering. I think it's about 20. So let's get into that. The first question or the first thing says, tell three best things about you. Um, my willingness to help people. Mm, most people say my personality and my and then me being an overachiever, pretty much. Okay. Question two. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strict were or are your parents? Now, my parents now they're at maybe like a 3 or 4, but a couple of years ago when I was like still young and like growing up, like maybe they were all the way like at maybe an 8.5 to 9. They were so strict. Like now my sisters have it so easy that they're not that strict anymore, but they were really strict when I was coming up. And I am the firstborn, so maybe it's different. But just because I am the oldest, maybe I'm different like that. I don't know. Third question says, who was your worst teacher and why? And who was your favorite teacher and why? Or who was your favorite teacher? So, my worst teacher, hands down, was in elementary, 5th grade, Miss Muhammad. Now, she sounds like maybe different, but she was, I believe, an African American woman, maybe late 20s to early 30s. And she was a pain. And I'm sure I was a pain to her too. But man, she was hard. Like every day she called my parents on me. And I was like, gosh, like I had a reflection on my life. Like, was I really that bad? But apparently I was. And so I had a lot of problems in 5th grade. I was like really bad. And I didn't think I could get worse, but I did. Um, yeah, parents were called a couple of times, and I just did not do well in 5th grade. I don't know. It was something about 5th grade. I didn't do well. So that was my worst teacher. My best teacher was 8th grade, Miss Harper. I believe it was 8th grade. No, 7th grade. 7th grade, Miss Harper. I love that woman. I still love her. Um, we kind of went astray over the years, but so as y'all know, I'm a nanny and I'm a babysitter as well. So she has been a major role in my reference, like basically my experience, because she started me very young. She trusted me, and that kind of ties into my personality too. I have like this thing about me that people just trust me. I don't know. So she trusts me. I was like 12 years old. How old are people in 7th grade? I think I was about 12 years old, and one day she wanted to go out, or it was something like that, and she wanted me to babysit, right? So she's like calling my parent, well, my mom. She called my mom, and she's like, I really trust your daughter. I know she's young or whatever, and I want her to babysit my daughter. And she's basically asking my mother's permission. And so my mother's like, well, if you trust her, like, okay, that's fine. Cool, it's fine. So, anyway, she has been a role in my work that I've been doing lately. So I really love her. She's nice, very nice lady. She was my math teacher. Um, Miss Muhammad, my fifth grade teacher, she teaches everything. Like when you're in elementary, um, your one teacher teaches like all subjects basically. But when you get in middle school, it's like you have a teacher for every subject. So Miss Harper was my math teacher, and I struggled in seventh grade as well. But she made it so much better for me. Okay. Next question. Fourth question. It says, which would I choose? To be world class attractive, a genius, or famous for doing something great? That's kind of, I mean, it's easy because I can rule out being attractive. I don't care about being attractive, like world class attractive. No. So that's out. It's either between being a genius or being known for doing something great. So being famous for doing something great. So I think I don't really care about being famous either. So I don't care. Okay, so I'm stuck between the genius and being famous for doing something great. But my answer would be famous for doing something great. Because that means more to me than anything. Like, if you know me, you know that. So, that's my answer for that. And so, the fifth question is, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? I would change the fact that at times I can be so nice to people, and people take advantage of that. So, my ability to allow people to take advantage of me, that's what I would change. Um, what was your favorite toy growing up? My parents tell me all the time it was my little pink Barbie Power Wheel. My pink Barbie Power Wheel. I would let nobody in it, like nobody. Like I was very selfish as a child, and I don't know why. I don't know how or why I grew out of that, but I was a very selfish child. So I didn't want anyone touching my toys, anyone doing anything. Like, if it was their stuff, I tried to punk them out of their stuff. They could never touch my stuff. So I think my favorite toy was the Power Wheel. Also, I loved the little Fisher Price swing. No, it wasn't a swing. A slide that they bought me. I love that. Even when I was too big to be on it, I didn't want them to give it away. But eventually we gave it away to my cousins, and eventually it ended up in the trash. So, yes. Um, seven. Three favorite movies. I think my three favorite movies right now are the recent three movies I've seen, which is Creed 2, um, Instant Family, and Nobody's Fool. They're all excellent movies. I swear, if y'all haven't seen them, go see them. Or you could wait till they come out on a Fire Stick. Or you could wait to watch them bootleg, whatever. However you watch them, watch them. Okay, the next question says, what do I think the right age to get married is? The right age to get married, I feel, is between maybe 22. Right age to get married is from 22 up. I feel like you're never too old to get married, but I feel like there is a certain like minimum. So I don't know because I know One of my coworkers said she got married at 15, but that was back in the day. She's an older woman. Um, Never would it be okay for a 15-year-old these days to marry anyone, even if it's another 15-year-old, because I believe that to be married um, means to basically have experience. Like at 22, I'm not saying that you'll have all the experience that you need, but you've lived. Like you know what you pretty much have had enough time to know what you want in a guy or a girl and be happy in a marriage. Because see what happens when you get married too young, or when you haven't experienced what you like and what you don't like. You'll get into marriages, and then a month later or a couple of days later you'll be out of marriages, because you have this idea that marriage is like these fairy tales, that a man is going to come sweep you off your feet and put a glass slipper on your foot and all that, like Cinderella. And marriages are not always like that. So I feel like 22 is a good starting age. Next question says, three things I remember about kindergarten. I remember this boy, Steven. Now, I don't know why I remember Steven, but I believe Steven I know Steven was a white boy. He was a little white kid, and he liked me. So I guess that's why I remember Steven, because he liked me. And then, me, I don't know anything. I'm in kindergarten, so I just assumed I liked him back. Second thing I remember about kindergarten is having an African American teacher and having a white teacher. They both were my teachers. And I had like the early shift. So I know they do like you want to do the PM shift basically, or you want to do the AM. So the AM class and the PM class. So I was AM class, and I got picked up at like around almost 12-ish. The third thing I remember about kindergarten is my teacher. She dismissed us by calling our names. Well, number one, but she made a song out of it, and I never forgot that song. So she used to say, so my whole name is Jen Trinae, but I go by Trinae for short. But she used to, when she called our names to line up to leave, she said, Jen Trinae, A, Babe, Banana, Fanta, Fafe, me, Mama, May. Gentrine. And so like everybody's name, she did like that, but in a song. And I never forgot that song. Never, ever, ever, ever. So it's just different. At first I couldn't do it. But as I got older, I was able to do the song, and I never forgot it. And I actually do it with some of my kids too, that I babysat and all that. Next question. What would you like to, no, who would you like to live like for one day? Woo, that's hard. And I think if you ask that question to anybody else, the first thing they'll rush to is somebody that's filthy rich and very well off and successful. But for me, I'd like to live like a peasant, like a homeless person for one day. I mean, because I feel like that'll put my life in perspective. Anytime I volunteer or give to the less fortunate, it puts my life in perspective. But actually being able to live, walk, talk in that person's shoes will be very, very life changing. Especially if I can live like that person for one day and still remember the things that I've experienced as that one person. If I live like that one person and have no knowledge of it, then it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. In that case, I choose a filthy rich person so I can return back to my life. But if I can't remember the experiences that I've had as that one person the next day, then I'd rather be a homeless person. Next question. What would I do if I was invisible for one day? I think what I do is go to
Every go to every. This is very hard. If I was invisible for one day,
y'all. This is very hard, harder than I thought it was gonna be. But I'd probably go. I just probably go mess with people. Really, to be honest with you, I probably just probably mess with my family members. Really, mess with random people, especially people I know. It'd be so funny, especially people who don't believe in ghosts and everything. Um, so I'd go to my mom's job and mess with her. I type words on her keyboard that she doesn't type, and I whisper things in her ear. Because my mom, she doesn't like scary stuff. So she really doesn't like anything she can't see or can't understand or whatever. So being invisible, hopefully I won't sound like myself. So I try to make myself, make a different voice for myself. And after that, I go mess with everybody while they're at work. I'd mess with my grandmother and well, both of my grandmothers and my grandpa. No, he probably wouldn't care. He probably just think like, oh, okay, whatever. But yes, I'd mess with my family members on at work if I was invisible for one day. Probably go do a couple of cliches like go rob a bank, steal a couple hundreds, steal a couple hundreds, and go to a restaurant and eat whatever I wanted, and basically I wouldn't have to ditch the ticket because I wouldn't have one because I'm invisible, of course. Next question. My favorite ice cream flavor. When it comes to ice cream, I'm not really picky because it's ice cream. But I'd rather not have vanilla. I like a different flavors. So basically, I like any ice cream with things in it, but not just anything. So I like nuts, like almonds, walnuts, peanuts, any nut. I love bananas, as y'all know. Love bananas, love chocolate. But my favorite ice cream of all time, drum roll, is Millennium Crunch. Now, if y'all haven't heard of Millennium Crunch, or you may not have it in your local grocery stores or whatever, you need to have it. Here in Texas, Brenham Brenham, Texas is where Bluebell originated, where Bluebell's main store, I guess, whatever the factory is. And it just so happens that my family is from Brenham, Texas. So, Bluebell has always been a hit. Growing up, always had Bluebell. My grandfather, he loves ice cream. When I tell you, my grandfather loves ice cream. He loves ice cream. So, Bluebell has always been a hit for us, like always. So, that's my favorite ice cream. Next question. Got my arm getting tired holding this phone. So, oh shoot. Would I like to live 1 week in the past or 1 week in the future? I mean, that's easy. I like to live one week in the future so I can see what mistakes I'm gonna make, and when I come back to the present, I can change those mistakes I've seen in my future, in my I've foreseen. I can change the things that I've foreseen in my future. So, I mean, because why relive the past? Why? The past is the past for a reason. Anything that happened should be let go. Whatever. It should roll off your back, whatever. You know? I want to see my future. Because if I know my future, I can change it if it's not what I want. So, yes. Next question. Favorite holiday? Of course, it's Jingle Bell Rock. Christmas. I love Christmas. Everything about Christmas. The smell of Christmas, the atmosphere and the spirit of Christmas. Music, Christmas music. It just the air just feels so different when it's Christmas time. Everyone carries themselves different when it's Christmas time. It's just a wonderful time of year, to be honest with you. So it's year end and year beginning. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. Christmas! Ooh, ooh. Jingle bell. Whatever. Next question. What three foods would I choose if I could only eat three foods for the rest of my life? So, chicken, fruit, and so to be more specific, fruits. I don't think I can pick a category because it's three foods. So like I assume only three items. So I choose chicken, rice, and beans. Rice and beans being that they are filling. Basically, you could not have any protein at all, but eat rice and beans and be so full like stuffed. So I chose rice and beans because they're full. They're fillers. But chicken, I love chicken. It can be fried, grilled, um, sautéed, baked, anything. I love chicken. So I chose chicken because why not? Next question. Um, Favorite childhood book. My favorite childhood book of all time would have to be all. I mean all, because he has a lot. All of the Dr. Seuss books. They're nice. They rhyme. They're catchy. They're nice. They're usually short, sweet books. I mean, they're not short for kids' books. To be honest, Dr. Seuss books go on and on and on. But they are short considering that, I'm older and I should be reading way more. They're longer kids' books, but they're very short, to say the least. I don't know. Next question. What's your favorite thing about one of your grandparents? Now, I have three living. I have my dad's mom, I have my mom's mom, and my mom's dad. So, I'm going to choose my mom's dad, one grandparent to talk about. And my favorite thing about my grandfather is his selflessness. He puts others before him Um, no matter what, it don't matter who you are, and he sees the good in everybody. Like, he's such a nice person, like a nice man. To think that, my grandma, she's one lucky chick to have him. And he's very, very nice. He'd literally give the clothes off his back for anybody. And to see him being taken advantage of would hurt me so much. But my favorite thing about my grandfather, and always has been, that he's very selfless. He puts others in like this high position, and he can put himself last all the time. Oh my god. I'm tearing up, y'all. Oh my. That's how he makes me, you know? He's very, very nice. Very nice man. Like, man, I wish I wish I could find a man like him. My generation sucks. I have to say that. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna get myself together and be back. Oh my. Oh. I didn't expect to get emotional when answering these questions. But stuff happens. It's life. Okay, I think I'm together now. Do I look like I've been crying? I'm not crying, you are. Okay, I think I'm good now. Okay, next question. Do you ever talk to yourself? Of course, I talk to myself all the time because I feel like a lot of situations that I'm in or that I've been in, I could talk myself out of those situations. It's just what happens when I don't talk to myself. That's the problem. Um, I reason with myself. Like, in the past, my decisions have not been the best since I didn't talk to myself or have this talk and stop and think to myself, like, was that the best thing? It's always been like, Trinae, go, go, go. So when I used to fight a lot, okay, let me sit up. I used to fight a lot in middle school. And to be honest, like, I never talked to myself and, told myself, like, hey, is this the best thing that you're about to do? Is this what you want to do? Never. So I've always been in trouble in middle school. But when I started talking to myself, and not on no psycho stuff, I'm not crazy, but I feel like everyone talks to themselves, here, one way or another. But to say like I have whole conversations with myself, no, not that crazy yet. But yeah, I do think I talk to myself now and say, well, hey, is that the best choice? Is that the best decision you should make at this time? And depending on the situation, I feel like a lot of talking to myself has gotten me out of trouble. So, yes, when asked, do I talk to myself? I do. Next question. Um, it's the last question. Actually, I didn't really know. Okay, so using one word, how would you describe your family? And I'm going to break this off into two, basically. My immediate family and my whole family, My whole family basically excluding my immediate family because I already been and covered them. So, my immediate family, which would be my two sisters, me, mom, and dad. Just five of us. No brothers. And I like it like that. Having sisters is complicated, because we all have like these different swings and these different moods and everything, and we bump heads a lot. All girls drama. But To describe my family, my immediate family, in one word, I'd say
Um, I'd say
I'd say reliable, because I feel like one way or another we all need each other. One way or another, someone else depends on one of us to do something for them. One way or another, we are there when you need us to be. So I'd give my immediate family the one word of reliable and uh, dependable. So, one of those. Now, my whole family, I'd give them the one word of difficult. That's the one word. Because, I mean, I don't think any family is perfect. But my family, I feel like my whole family, they just don't do enough. Like, me moving forward, I always try to get my family to volunteer, always get my family to try to do family gatherings. I always try to get my family to just be interactive in the world and, do more than a normal person would or should. But my family, I feel like they just don't do enough. And not every family is perfect, like I said. But my family can be difficult to deal with at times. I still love them, all of them, but can be very difficult to please everybody. And from experience, I cannot help everybody, cannot please everybody, but I can do the best that I can to make my family happy. And that's my main goal here. That's my purpose here. I love my family, but they are difficult, to say the least. Um, yeah, that wraps up my 20 question about me, what would I do type situation, featuring me in my bed with my squishy and my nightgown. So, y'all don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn this into a challenge, whatever. Feel free. But good night, y'all. Peace.